episode 349, and we're here for a special short interview with Matt Mcmanus. And as I want to say, thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same, let me rephrase that. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. But you should never give up, and you should prove to people you can still amount to something. So that being said, you have as much time as you like, but you said you wanted a short interview. And with that being said, what can you tell us about yourself?
Sure, 1 second. There's just an ambulance driving by.
Hey, anything can happen live.
Okay, ask me that question again.
So, what can you tell us about yourself, starting off?
Okay. The funny thing is that I was born 8 weeks premature in 1980. And I have a twin sister, and usually when you have a twin, one of the two is born with some developmental issues because you're born early, so you're not done growing yet. When I was born in 1980, my eyes were not developed yet, and they put me in an incubator with no protective glasses on. So my eyes were very, very deformed by the lights of this thing, it made my eyes very weak, and I subsequently was born completely cross-eyed, and with the inability to see correctly. And at 3 years old, they had to take my eyes out of my head and operate on them, and correct them. And they didn't really do a fantastic job. I can see, obviously, but my left eye is a little lazy, and at times it does turn in and look look crooked. I also was diagnosed with something called scotopic syndrome, which 1 in every 3,000 people have, which is a learning disability where you hallucinate at a very young age, and it's hard for you to read. So I was placed in special education classes after some hardship by the 2nd grade. It was hard for me to make friends. It was hard for me to learn, and it was hard for me to feel good about myself. 2 things. So one of the reasons that I became a performer was to overcome my fear of being around people. And when I was placed in special education classes eventually, I learned how to learn. Because I wasn't in special ed because I was dumb or because I was stupid, but because I had these problems I had these issues where I needed to learn how to learn for me. Okay, I was dyslexic. I am dyslexic. I have this thing called scotopic syndrome, where I had to wear these weird colored glasses to prevent these hallucinations. I have ADHD, and that's about it. So once I learned how to learn, I was able to help my peers around me in my special education classes learn for themselves. And I in turn learned that we were not just given these disabilities. I think that needs to stop. And I want to specialities, change it to specialties, because what hinders you from learning the traditional way might actually help the world in a grander way. And I have found that the things that you get made fun of for as a child are the things that people champion you for as an adult. I can see words differently because words move around on a page for me. So the way that letters and words work for me, I've been able to parlay that into a career in writing comedy.
Right.
and I've been in Los Angeles now for 7 years and 10 years in New York, and I'm a working writer because I see the world in a very different way, literally. I was born with the ability to see, the ability, not the disability, to see the world in a way that no one else can see. And so I've been able to put that into words and make a career out of it.
No, that's amazing. I'm happy for you. So, for a perfect, can you give us a perfect example of how you turn your weakness into a strength?
Sure. A perfect example would be that, so my weaknesses made me, I got made fun of a lot when I was a child, and so I didn't want to use my hands to defend myself, so I learned how to use my words, and not to basically use my words as weapons, and so I was able to create jokes about the people that were hurting me. Not in an effort to hurt their feelings, but in an effort to defend myself. And in writing these jokes about my surroundings and about these people that were hurting me, I got such good practice at being quick at these defenses that as an adult in a writer's room where you're writing jokes for a television show, you're able to come up with these ideas very quickly before anyone else in the room. As almost a defense mechanism. And these ideas become realities that are on screens all over America. And I've written jokes for Ricky Gervais, who hosted the Oscars, the Golden Globes a couple of years ago. I was one of the hired joke writers for that. I've written for television shows like on MTV, for TBS. I'm currently on a television show doing my craft called Chris Webber's Full Court Pranks on True TV. So the ability to defend myself with my words and not my fists has parlayed into a career of writing jokes professionally.
No, absolutely. Now, for a perfect example, looking for a way to phrase this, did you approach them to say, I want to be on TV, or did they approach you? And for your...
they approached me. And it's not like the traditional sense, like, you don't just get a phone call one day, like, hey, do you want to do this? Like, you got to plant a lot of seeds. Every room that you go into, every hand that you shake, you have to leave an impression on people.
Right.
And then they'll look you up like you looked me up, and if they appreciate the content of your work, they will offer you a job. And if you do good at that job, they'll hire you again.
All right, so for people out there that want to know we're in the same boat, what were the steps that you had to take to get to where you are today?
Sure. I had to figure out my strengths, what I was good at a very young age, and be specific about that. Specific. Like, let's just use an example. If you're a painter, what kind of painter do you want to be? Or what kind of artist do you want to be? Do you want to work in advertising? Do you want to work in fine art? If you're a performer, do you want to be a comedian? Do you want to work in drama? If you're a sculptor, do you want to sculpt people, or do you want to sculpt buildings? Take what you're good at and figure out specifically, to a T, what you're good at, and focus on that. And if you focus on that, you'll find other people that are like-minded or passionate or even competitive. The key is to compete with yourself, with who you used to be, and who you're surrounded by constructively, so that you can grow at what you want to do. If you want to work in politics, figure out what kind of politics you want to do. Specifically, do you want to work for agriculture? Do you want to work for policy? I guess my advice would be is figure out what you want to be, because that's important. but be specific. I mean, to a T. As little as you can get down to the nitty-gritty of what your purpose is and focus on that and work at it, you will meet people that will help you.
All right, well, for a perfect example, what is your honest opinion about what I do? Do you think eventually it will open doors for me, or do you think I need to work at it? Your honest opinion.
My honest opinion is I think you need a set. I think you need better light on your face. I think you need a blank wall with the name of the show behind you. What you're doing is valiant and serves a purpose. I guarantee you that you are helping lives. But if you want to turn this into something larger, because I work in entertainment, what you're doing is worthwhile. And I think that you should just really find a wall in your house that you can shine some light on and sit in front of it with the name. Even if you got a dry erase board and you wrote your name, the name of the show, and the week's guest on it, so that the camera just tells the viewer what exactly you're going to see. That would be my advice.
All right. Now, passing the show over to you, was there anything you wanted to talk about, anything you want to promote? This is your time, after all.
Sure. It's hard when you're a kid and you're different. And it's even harder to know that you're special but not know how to showcase that and to let people know that you feel that way about yourself. But be prideful about that. And that you have this gift that you might not be able to define or articulate. But that gift will shine one day. And so will you. As long as you focus on what it is. Like, I knew that I was good with making jokes and people laugh and a fool out of myself. You can do that, or you can do whatever it is that you want to do. But just know that I get it. You know, I'm living proof. And I'm proud of you for putting one foot in front of the other. But talk about your feelings as much as you can. And stay away from people that hurt you. Anyone that hurts you, you stay away from. And if they won't leave you alone, you tell someone. And don't be ashamed of needing help. Because it's the people that help you that will teach you how to help others.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. Now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you some more questions.
Okay.
A message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shout-outs, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre. Buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
I'm so bored.
Want to see something really cool?
Yeah!
Now you'll never be bored again with Loot Crate, a totally bodacious mystery box packed with awesome toys, radical games, and other surprises. And the best part is, you can get Loot Crate delivered right to your door. So don't delay. Ask your parents and order today.
Everything okay in there? Yeah, everything great. I love Loot Crate.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 349. I'm here with Matt McGinnis. As I was saying,
McManus.
McManus. And I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
You're very welcome.
Now, you mentioned about the background of my set and everything. Everything works. Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example. When I first started, it was pretty much what you see on the phone with a reflection. That's what the camera got. So in season 2, it's basically, okay, here's the camera, and it records what the computer sees. And now, thanks to season 3 and 4, and thanks to Skype Recorder, it's now cut in half. I'm on the right, you're on the left, or you interview me, you're on the right, and I'm on the left. So basically, it's a work in progress for over the 4 years. Going from the phone the computer screen, and to the double screen. So it's pretty much just showing you there's growth over the years. I didn't want to do this over the years where it's cut in half, and it's like for 4 seasons does the same thing. So I did things a little differently to show you the transitions over the years. But with that being said, who influenced you to start your acting career, and have you had the chance to open for any big name stars?
Say that again?
Alright, so when you started your acting career, did you open for any big name stars, and who influenced you?
Andy Kaufman was my inspiration, and Robin Williams were my inspiration for getting into this. Robin Williams helped me through some tough periods in my life via his art, and Andy Kaufman allowed me to understand that the absurd things that are in my brain could be realities and entertaining. I opened up for some of the people that were inspired, that were part of Howard Stern's camp with my sketch comedy group in New York City about 10 years ago. I've opened up for the famous sketch comedy group, The Whitest Kids You Know, and I've been on television shows with some famous comedians like Marlon Wayans and Tom Green and Andy Dick. I've been around a lot of famous people, and creatively. But I mean, that doesn't really mean that much. What means a lot is if you yourself as an artist are reaching people.
No, absolutely. And I was just thinking about when you mentioned I should get like a different background. I'm just looking at my reflection in the little screen thing, and I just thought of something. This is my background, because I don't want to be artificial. So basically, I want to say, hey, this is who I am, and this is what I have to work with. Because you look at other people, they have a dry, like you said, they got a dry erase board, they have a blank wall, and they all have the same statute of limitation. It's the same thing. This is what it's mandated. This is what it should be, blah, 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 blah. But why not keep it real? I think the best things that come to you are the ones that are real.
Okay.
So why do you have to hide behind the screen when you can just say, this is who I am, and you can accept it for who I am, or there you go.
Well, no, you're correct, but from like a technical standpoint, right now you're something called backlit, which means the light is coming from behind you, which is unattractive to the human eye. So that's just a technical thing. I understand you wanting to keep it real, which everyone would understand that. But in terms of like, if you're making something visual, it should be attractive to the human eye. I'm not saying you have to wear a tuxedo.
Yeah.
I'm saying just visually, it should be easy to look at.
No, absolutely. And like I said, every interview is different, and it's basically like 94 outside, and that shade doesn't open. Maybe I should have closed that one, but you look at, it's kind of looking at heaven, because all you see is a light, blinding light.
Where are you? What state are you in?
Oh, New York.
What town?
You ever been to Woodbury Commons or West Point?
So you're in Westchester?
Let's see, Westchester, it's about an hour and a half. So from the city, I'm, give or take with traffic, I say like an hour and a half east.
Oh, okay. I went to college in Albany.
Oh, nice. So that's about an hour away. Actually, 2 hours away.
Okay, great.
Oh,
And
hour
so
and a half.
why don't you tell me a little bit about you right now? How old you are, what you do for, tell me about your life.
All right, well, I'm 29, and basically for all my life I was labeled as mentally disturbed, learning disabled, handicapped, retarded, or people that say retard. Trying to make you laugh. But basically people said I was never going to amount to anything. I was going to work in retail for the rest of my life. I was going to be playing in a group home. And for the longest time, and same thing with you, I took special ed classes. And because I learned at a 5th grade level, I can read, but not well. I can read, but not that well. And so, I'll give you a perfect example. Say you're reading a script, and you say, okay, we're going to do the script in pages 1, 2, and 3. For me, that's going to go over my head. So we would actually have to sit down and go over it page like 3 to 4 times till it sinks in.
I get it.
And, I learn at a slower pace, and people say that's retardation. And so basically, I'm showing people saying it doesn't matter what you throw at me. I'm going to show you, but like I said, labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And you're an example of that, because you said you had a learning disability. And look at you, you're a stand-up comedian. So basically, you kind of look like Chris Jericho from a distance. And for people who don't know, Chris Jericho, he's a former wrestler. So it's pretty much you're just showing people that, look at what I can do. If someone gives you a shitty hand, first off, you should wash your hands. And second of all, you should show them what you can amount to with that. And, it's just basically saying, yes, for the longest time, I was using my disability as a crutch. Can't do this, I can't do that, and I was using it for my advantage. Oh, it was a boomerang. I knew it was going to come back and bite me in the ass. And it's like, well, you can't do this now, you can't do that, so I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to show you what a weakness can be a strength. So with that being said, I'm just turning myself into an example for people out there, saying, look at what I'm able to accomplish.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing, and I think it's important work. I think that you are going to be fine. I think that you're smart. And I'd like you to keep up the good work.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last question I was going to ask you, and I have a couple questions off the air, but the last question I was going to ask you to wrap up our interview is, when I first approached you, what was your honest opinion? And after being a guest on my talk show, how do you feel now?
When you first approached me, my honest opinion was that I was attracted to the work that you were doing on a personal level, which was kind of funny because I've been thinking a lot about this stuff lately, because I have a child, and so I have a 3-year-old son, and so he is awesome, and a lot of the thoughts and feelings I had about growing up are coming up again now that I have a child myself. And so I was very drawn to the work you were doing based on my own personal feelings. And now that we've done the interview, my honest opinion is that you asked the right questions, and and you probably get some interesting answers, and hopefully the answers will go on to help children like I was when I was a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2.
Have a great afternoon, and I look forward to seeing the video.